Welcome to the Generation Elevation podcast, a conscious, connected platform for those who are ready to manifest their dream life. I'm your host, Elise Riley, a former PT, now motivational speaker, igniting empowerment and transformation all across the globe. Here at Generation Elevation, we are committed to bringing you the most inspiring guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and advice to help you progress closer to living a life of your own terms. Welcome back to another episode of Generation Elevation. Today, I am here with an amazing guest. I am so excited to have her on the show. She's a multi-six-figure business mentor who helps high-performing coaches expand their influence, income, and impact online to become high-paying leaders, mentors, and change makers of their industry so that they can get paid to live an extraordinary life. She believes that life is too short for just lukewarm living, and that every woman with a big, outrageous, daring dream and ability to help transform lives lies the power for us all to become the change we wish to see in the world. She helps coaches create a high cash flow business as a vehicle for soul activation, expression, and expansion. Without the hustle, complexity, and being stuck in the old paradigm of trading time for money, this is her aim of the game. So with that said, I am super grateful to introduce to you my friend, my inspiration, Jasmin Moore. Hello.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much, Elise. I am so excited to be here just to share in this energy with you. I know we're going to have an amazing conversation today.
Yes, honestly, we were saying just before we press record that we have no idea really what we're going to talk about today, but we do know one thing. It's going to be freaking good.
Oh, it's going to be big. It's going to be so big. I'm so excited for everyone tuning into this. And like we were saying, just sometimes the magic comes from just trusting and knowing that the energy's here. We're just here to give. We're here to serve. We're here to lead. Just whatever is meant to come is going to inspire the right people. So I'm all here for it. Let's rock and roll.
Yes, let's do this. So I just wanted to ask a couple of quick fire questions, just because I know that some people may be listening, not knowing exactly who you are. And your bio is pretty impressive, like multi-six-figure business mentor. So how old are you, Jasmin?
I'm 26 at the moment.
Wow, amazing. So you've achieved all of this by 26, and you would say that you are like a business coach? Is that what you say? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's so like, yes, business coach, I suppose, in like just a surface level, put it in a box, make it nice and neat for everyone to understand. But at the same time, I feel like what I do is so much more than that as well, because, and same with my clients, there's the title, right? There's, what you put in the bio, there's even the captions for everything that you write, but nothing could ever encapsulate who you are and your magic and the essence and the value that you have to give to the world than just, what this is who I am as like, this is X and so coach, or I'm a mindset coach, or I'm this person, or I'm a dietitian, which was my background as well. Like, it's so hard to put it all into the one little box, but yes, in a nutshell, that's the realm I love to play in, being a business mentor.
I love that we started with this because, I really believe you have so much magic, and just labeling you as one thing is just no way. That's such a disservice. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is for everyone who's trying to fit into a box of one particular label. It can be very limiting. So I love that. And what about your favorite hobby? Like, what's something that you do for fun?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, so like I said, I'm in New Zealand at the moment. This was a very spontaneous decision to come here. It was very much 2 days beforehand. We're like, you know what? There's amazing snow right now on the mountains. Let's just make it happen. And so to be here in New Zealand, I'm overlooking these incredible views of the lake here in Queenstown. There's snow on the mountains. It's beautiful. Like obsessed with traveling, and I never thought I would even try snowboarding. That's only just been a recent hobby of mine, but I've been doing it nonstop for the last month. Actually, this is the second trip that we've had snowboarding. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. If you haven't snowboarded before, you've got to just give it a go. It's something that does feel pretty hard on your body, I'm not going to lie, when you're first starting out as a beginner, but it's been so much fun. It's so freeing to be just in nature. I think just for one, full stop, being amongst the mountains, the fresh air, and just trying new things. Like no matter what it is, life's too short. Like I said in the bio, right? Life is just too short to be holding back from different experiences and different things that light you up. So at the moment, right now, this very chapter of my life, snowboarding is huge, and I can't wait for more of it right now.
Yes, I love snowboarding, and I definitely resonate when like the sky is blue and the snow is so white and fresh. Like nothing beats a day like that in the snow. Oh, so good. So amazing. And what are you grateful for this week, apart from New Zealand and the snow? Because obviously like that's something that is going to be up there.
Obviously. What am I grateful? What am I not grateful for? Honestly, the amount of days that I just wake up and there's just like, it's just to be waking up today, right? I think sometimes we even with questions like that, we try to look at what are the big grandiose things that are happening in my life. And yes, I could talk about the traveling and the freedom that I have with the business that I've created and the people that are entering into my world and the love that I'm receiving, all these things. But at the end of the day, just being able to wake up today and just being so open to receive whatever I'm meant to, that it always comes back to that. Like, I'm just so grateful I have another day here to make the most of and just feel into whatever's meant to be. So that's what I'm feeling grateful for right now.
Wow, I can feel that. Like my heart is just like so warm right now, just listening to you. I'm like, oh, this is the best. You know, like I'm sure the listeners can also agree with this too. You can really feel and hear your energy through like this call, which is awesome. So Jasmin, I'm really curious, how does one go from becoming a dietitian, studying in uni, trading time for money, to now traveling across the world, having that financial freedom, time freedom, working for yourself, living in your own apartment, living and doing all the things in capital letters? Like, how does one go from A to B?
That is such a big question. I love it. There's so many different little rabbit holes that we can go into, and it's just one big adventure, right? Like that's what this is all about. But yeah, for me, I graduated uni about in 2018, halfway through, and I graduated as a dietitian. And I always knew that I wanted to be in business. I always knew I was just, into entrepreneurship. It just made sense. I loved it. It just made my heart sing. I remember being in some particular like business entrepreneurial type of classes at uni. And I was just on the edge of my seat the whole time, just being like, I just want to get out there. I just want to do it. I just want to help people, just want to transform lives. And I didn't know how that was going to look, but I just knew that was for me and that was my calling. And so it was very easy to transition as soon as I graduated, maybe a couple of weeks beforehand, online, basically straight away. And I had my platform online, and that was something that I had been building up over the years whilst I was at uni. So I graduated and started, helping people online all over the world. Basically straight away, people would reach out to me and want to get some help with their nutrition and whatever concerns that they had at that time. I was very much in the space of wanting to help everyone as well. So didn't really have a niche or anything to begin with. I was just like, let me just get out there. Let me just help. Let me just see, who's out there and what I can do. And it was interesting because at the very beginning, I think I was charging as little as like $45 a session, like a consultation. And that's even, that's well below even just the industry standard for a consultation with a dietitian. And again, like I said, my whole vision was like, I just wanted to help people. And so it became this thing where I was really busy very soon, and I was loving what I was doing, but I was also really burnt out, and I wasn't nearly making enough money to be traveling, to be doing whatever I wanted to be doing. And I realized very soon that, okay, well, there has to be a different way here, because I love what I'm doing as a dietitian, but because I am charging so low, I'm never going to be able to live the life that I want to right now. Also, I'm getting in and attracting in a lot of clients in that, they say that they're committed and they say that they want to change, but even for some, like $45 is a stretch. And, this is talking about their health and actually, transforming their lives on such a deep foundational level that's going to impact and have the ripple effect on so many things. And I wasn't loving that. There was a bit of a misalignment there with who I was attracting and who I was working with. And then, of course, just not having the time. I remember being stuck in my bedroom, trying to grow my business at the same time as serving clients, marketing and all the things. And I remember it was a Saturday. It was just beautiful, beautiful morning. The sun was shining outside this window. And I was in my dark, dingy, bedroom at the time and looking outside and knowing that that day was the day that I didn't realize at the time, but it was my sister's last dance performance ever that she basically was going to do. And it was only going to be for 2 hours. But in that moment, I was like, well, no, I'm really busy. I need to get this stuff done. I come to every other performance and I love watching her dance. She's just incredible. Beautiful sister. And I remember missing out on that because I was so busy and it felt like I had to get to the to-do list and finish all the things. And I think just looking at that window that day, realizing what on earth am I doing? I'm in this bedroom. I'm missing out on this beautiful day. I'm missing out on something I love doing, which is watching my sister perform and dance and being connected with her. And all I'm doing it for is so I can try and get ahead with my business in a way which wasn't ever going to give me that much more growth in 2 hours, because the way I was going about things was very much, again, just trading time for money. And that was all I knew. And I think when you graduate, at least for us, when you graduate uni, as dietitians, as health service providers, there's this very set way of doing things. This is how you be a dietitian, basically. And I just wanted something different. I was like, no, fuck this. I want the freedom. I want to be working with incredible clients that I really invested, that really want to change. I want to be offering incredible results. I really want to be, I want to change people's lives in a big way. And so even though what I was doing was really helpful for clients as well, I found that the level of impact that I could give was only so much in the kind of format and the way that I was delivering my service as well. So I looked at, okay, well, what else is there? Tried lots of different things. I did 12-week programs. I did group programs. I did, oh my goodness, I did newsletters. I did a bunch of different things, just trying to sort of work things out myself. Invested into lots of different things, but it was only very low ticket, not super high level investment type of moves. And I was ultimately still trying to play it safe. I was like, yes, how can I not spend so much money here? How can I grow my business and try to do it all myself? Because I had lots of people around me that would say, well, you're bright and you're smart and you're motivated and you're driven. You can work this out. Surely it's all over Google, right? You don't need to actually be investing in high level. So I was like, yeah, you're right. I can do this. And I really went about that pathway for maybe probably about a good solid 6 months, until I was like, nowhere further than where I wanted to be, except maybe more confused, because I was listening to this person, and shiny object syndrome had just taken over, and I had no idea what I was really doing, because there was so much that I could be doing. But I was like, well, what's going to specifically work for me? And at that time, I had actually invested in a higher level mentoring. It was like a group mentoring program where I was in maybe a group of 200 people. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity, because although it did help me find my feet a little bit with foundations, it also showed me what I didn't want. It also showed me what I didn't want to create with a business and a brand. And also, I didn't want to be one of 200 people. I was needing that one-on-one support. And I found that everyone in there needed one-on-one support that they weren't getting. And so through a bit of trial and error, but also learning from these great opportunities that came by, was able to sort of figure out a way. And I think even before that too, I figured out that I needed one-on-one mentorship. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to take this seriously, I need to be starting to invest seriously. I need to start taking and making powerful decisions in my life. I need to be looking at what's going on outside of my business and how is one decision over there impacting things over here, because everything is so interconnected. I need to look at my energy management more. I needed to raise my standards. Oh my goodness. I need to stop being such a people pleaser. I really had to take a step back from what is immediately happening in my business on a strategic level that I was trying to do, like the marketing, the sales, and also just come back to the energetic side of things, come back to who am I? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to stand for? What do I want to stand for? The bigger questions, right? And also just asking, well, what do I want from life? Sometimes it's so easy to get stuck in creating a business and trying to finish the next thing and the next thing on the to-do list and get a client. And then you forget, actually, wait, let's take a step back. What is this all for? Just so you can continue to keep completing task after task and stay busy, so you can fulfill this dream that you think is what you think is success, but it's just somebody else's version of success. What do you actually want? Who do you want to be? And when I started asking these questions, that's when things started to really unfold and boom. And I got really excited and in love with my life again. And I think coming from that place and realizing, okay, well, I'm going to do this for real now. I'm not going to just sit back. I'm not going to just wait and let things manifest in front of me. I'm going to be moving in the energy and in alignment with the frequency of how I want my life to live. And so I did, invested big and continue to invest big and big today as well with one-on-one mentoring, and was able to find a way where I could really stand out of the crowd and deliver more of a service that was more aligned with my truth, that actually allowed other people to be stepping into theirs as well. And realized by doing so that my message, even though I loved being a dietitian and I could transform people's lives and those amazing results that were coming through, I did see that there was such a gap in the way that dietetics was being done, and particularly entering the new age way of leveraging social media, this incredible free platform that we have, that we can reach billions of people a month on Instagram, people that need our help, need our magic. So I started helping other dietitians to leverage what they were doing and looking at how they were doing it and how they could better support their clients, have better impact, really focusing on brand, focusing on being the person they want to be, not just another dietitian in X niche, right? And then from there, realized this is also so much bigger than dietitians. This is people, women with these incredible gifts of transforming people's lives and owning their magic. That's what I want to see happen, helping to really help these coaches and service-based providers out there just activate and express and expand who it is that they are and their potential. Because if they can do that, imagine again, the ripple effect, not just in business, but their health, their relationships. That was really meaningful. And as soon as those little things clicked into place, I started that new sort of business from there, focusing on just the business coaching for coaches in general. And in the first week, everything just boomed, simply because nothing else was really different, except I was just in total alignment with my message and my mission. And it just felt like everything was happening in the right time, the right place. And yeah, here I am today, just continuing to live into that and continuing to dive deeper into it as well, right? Because there's so many levels. You can make 10K a month and explore and express who it is that you are at that level. Oh my God, my voice is getting so croaky right now.
Oh no, I love it. I'm like, whoa, you are so in flow. Keep going.
I'm so in flow right now. I'm just going to take a sip of water.
Well, you just thinking, I'm just sitting here, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got goosebumps.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun to be in that flow state. But I was like, hang on a second, my body's trying to keep up here. Once I had that alignment and realized that even within that alignment, there's more depth to go to in realizing who it is that you really are and realizing how far you can go and how big you can dream and how big you can go and how there's just so many different layers to unfold in understanding who it is that you are on a deep level. And I think that the more that we grow, honestly, the more that we have to give to the world, which is such a big premise of how I live my life and how I do business with my clients as well, which is just, yeah, incredible.
Wow. I really resonated with a lot of what you had to say in your story. And there is no surprise there why we have connected like we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes so much sense to why I see so much of myself and my story in yours. And it's really beautiful because, yeah, you definitely inspire me with the life that you have created, because it definitely is something that I know that is coming for me as well, which is so exciting. It's already here.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yes, it is.
It's happening.
And I'm really curious because I was writing some notes down while you were talking, and you mentioned success. And so for you, I'm really curious, what would be your definition of success? Like, what does success mean to you?
Such a good question. I think for me, a lot of it comes down to that alignment piece. And as much as you can make decisions that are in alignment with who it is that you truly are and who it is that you truly want to be, then I feel like that is success, because whatever comes from that, the byproduct, the wealth, the impact, the influence, the contribution, the legacy, all of that comes from a place, firstly, of just being in true alignment with who it is that you really are, without judgment, without shame, without any limitation on thinking that you should or shouldn't be that particular way. So I feel like for me, at the very basis of it all, like, yes, having the wealth and the freedom is amazing, but none of that happens without, firstly, the alignment piece, because I know a lot of people that have the following, the wealth, the thousands of clients they're working with, all these things that they can say and have to their name, but they're still really miserable, right? They're still out of alignment. So I think the real success piece here is, how can I be in most true alignment with who it is that I really am and who I inspire to be and the life that I want to create every single day? I feel like that's what success really is to me.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I believe that in the past, I got sucked into, how you said, the shiny object syndrome, what everyone else was doing and thinking and saying of what success is. That, you've got to work hard and put in the time to make money, and you've got to save, and you can't spend it. You could be frivolous with your money and that scarcity mindset. And so for me, I spent most of my life quite successful as a PT, but never actually enjoying that money that I made for myself, because I was still in scarcity mindset. No matter like what level of wealth I had created for myself, it actually wasn't wealth, because I wasn't feeling wealthy either. Yeah, that's really huge over time, through living on the Gold Coast, moving out by myself, letting go of that old patterning, that old way of thinking, and letting go of what other people think success is. Creating that own definition for yourself, I think, is so powerful. So I'm also curious to know, within your journey, how have you gone about releasing those fears, releasing those old stories, those old beliefs around money, so that you can take that leap, that courageous leap to invest seriously, like you said, taking it seriously, so people then would take you seriously, like that reflection of yourself and your beliefs through your business. How have you gone releasing those old paradigms and old beliefs?
Yeah, great question, Elise. And this is something that I love helping my clients with through, because it is such a beautiful, sacred unfolding of who it is that you think that you are, or thought that you were, or have been up until this point of time. And I think for me, it's something that I remember reading books back in the day that would say, once you make a certain amount, or you hit a milestone, when I was younger, sort of maybe in the first beginning stages of my journey. And it was saying how, when you hit these milestones, and they'll be different for everybody, but you'll feel like, yes, that's like a pinnacle. That's a milestone. It's this, you're going to change. And I remember reading these books that would talk about, that in terms of money, and how it's like you're going to hit like your first 100K or whatever it is, or your first X amount of money in a month. And you're going to realize that it wasn't about the money. You're going to realize that it's not a big deal. You're going to realize that you might even get sad because you think it's going to change you, and it actually doesn't. And I remember reading these things being like, yeah, I'm prepared for this. I've got this. Made my first 100K. And then I even made my first 100K month. And even within both milestones, which were less than like 12 months apart, I think they were more like 6 months apart. Even in both of those, it's like the same fears still came up. The same things still came up where I was like, wow, is that really it? Could it have really been that easy for me? Should it be this easy for me? There was almost some shame that came up when I made my first 100K month, because I was like, it was my most fun and effortless month that I had to date. Wow. And I was like, could this be real? Is this right for me to be experiencing this when so many other people are really struggling with this right now? I even had a lot of other money stuff that came up as well with fears. And it's things that maybe was always there, but I never really realized the capacity, because sometimes you just need the trigger to come to realize, okay, well, this is actually where I'm operating from. This is actually the conditions of this success over here. And again, it's the beautiful unfolding of better understanding who it is that you really are, and then asking yourselves, okay, well, does this really serve me? Is this who I really want to be? Does this align with the life that I want to go? And almost creating a line in the sand moments, that I like to call them, where you're like, okay, well, old me would suggest and think and maybe do or believe or behave in X, Y, Z. This is what she would think. But new me, okay, well, it isn't that actually. New me would think this and this and this about the situation. And it's always coming back to, well, what meaning are you attaching to it, right? What meaning are we attaching to the beliefs? And I think firstly, if we can release the shame, the judgment, just come and approach it with compassion. And then two, ask yourselves, okay, well, is this really serving us? Yes, it is, but which version of ourselves? The old version of you that has gotten you to this point, which is, wonderful, great. There's safety there. We want to love and appreciate that part of us. But is that going to be the same version that gets us to what's happening over there, that gets us to meeting our edge and then taking the next step to becoming who it is that we really want to be, the leader that we're really here to be, the mum that we're here to be, the partner that we're here to be? It's all one and the same thing. So I think for me, I've realized that there's never a full releasing, there's never a full overcoming, because they're going to come up in different ways. And it's a really beautiful experience that we get as humans to feel into all these emotions and better understand ourselves. So I never think that they're wrong to have these fears, but if we can always ask ourselves, okay, am I making decisions right now from a place of fear or love? Am I making it from a place of scarcity or desire? Like, where is this really coming from? And what do I really want? It means that we don't have to be so consumed with trying to think our way through letting go fears. And sometimes it's just a matter of making that decision that's what's really in aligned with us, and then just taking the fast action. I think that's such a key thing here. You can think and ruminate all day in your mind around what you should do or what's the right decision, what's the wrong decision. But at the end of the day, if you know who you are and you can stand behind that and you just make moves constantly in that direction, of course you're going to get there. And the more faster you can make those decisions and be unattached to what that's meant to look like and the outcome and everything, the more quicker you're going to get there too, because you're not going to have any of this resistance around the truth that's slowing you down. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. And so would you be able to elaborate a little bit more on that attachment? What you want? Because I know that a lot of people listening may be into manifestation and may just have general goals for themselves that they are on the way to achieving. However, they want it to look like this specific way. And so I'd love for you to elaborate on releasing attachments around the end result and how maybe some tangible steps on how my audience can do that.
Yeah, great question. I think that a lot of the time, I think attachment comes from this scarcity of not having it, or not having it in a way that it's meant to look like. And so even if we're so passionate about something and it comes from this, what we think is this really great place of wanting to help and contribute or whatever it is, if it's all coming from this place of having to have it and needing it in order to feel X, Y, and Z, in order to fill a void of X, Y, and Z, in order to be X, Y, and Z, well, then we're never going to be happy even if we do achieve the thing, because it's always coming from a place of scarcity, not from a place of this overflowing abundance, knowing that, well, actually, if I can just trust in who I am and trust in whatever's unfolding, yes, I can be really specific with what it is that I want and know that that's for me. But also, again, it comes back to knowing that that's going to happen no matter what, because it's who you are and who you say you're going to be. But just now it's a game of growing into that version of yourself. Like, it's done. You want to be somebody who travels and has amazing success and like helps clients and, has all the things that you want. Like, it's done. But now our job right now in the present, which is all we ever have right now and here, is just to not be so attached to what's going on up there in the dreams, knowing that's ours, we can own it. But who do we need to be, and how can we grow into that version of ourselves that is living that lifestyle today, who is making those contributions, who is making the donations, who is helping out in X, Y, and Z. And it's always coming back to, again, that alignment piece. I think we can be unattached to the outcome and more attached to who it is that we are and the alignment of where we're going and who we're being, without, again, the judgment piece. I think that's what's really key here. And I think that's how you have a lot more fun as well, right? We can be so attached to like needing this and making it like this happen over here. But if we're just like, it's done, like I own that, this is who I am, this is where I'm going. Now we just get to play. We get to have fun, riding this bicycle, or we're on the path, really. We're on the path to it. Are we going to be looking down and swiveling and, wobbling? Sometimes we might fall off. We'll get back on, and then we learn, and we're more We're more experienced now. We have extra things in our toolkit we can draw upon to get to this place. It's all done. It's all happening. So let's just come back to the present moment, be unattached to what's happening in the future, and just have fun with it. Just have fun growing into that best version of yourself that you possibly can.
Yeah, 100%. I really resonate with this and my journey of coming into that alignment, having more fun, not taking life and the hustle so seriously, because when you do elevate your energy, when you do have more fun, you attract those things easily and effortlessly anyway, without having that pushing shit uphill energy, which is not what we want.
Not what we want. That's not fun. We all do that from time to time. Like we were saying at the very beginning of this too, it comes back to like, where are we trying to force control, right? Because control is always coming back to this place of fear. Sometimes we're trying to control things because it makes us feel powerful. Yet in reality, it's, again, where's the root cause? Well, it's most likely coming from fear, because the opposite of that is just trusting, right? And it doesn't mean to say that we can't make the moves. And I'm all about manifesting, but I'm also all about making the moves that are in alignment with that frequency. So you can actually just go and action the things. And again, not from this place of forcing it to happen, but just from a place of allowing it to be and being whoever you're meant to be in that moment as well.
Yeah, yes. I love that so much. And in regards to getting in alignment for yourself, so you may have days where you wobble a bit, like you said, on the push bike. You might have a little bit of wobble, you hit a stone. How do you elevate yourself to match that frequency? How do you elevate your vibe so that you can continue to progress towards those things that you do want and creating the life that you want?
Yeah. Great question. And it happens all the time. It's not even just like, I think when you get quicker at noticing, right, when you're sort of out of the alignment or the energy that you want to be in. And it's not about being high vibe all the time, because that's also not necessarily in alignment either. Sometimes we need to be feeling into the emotions, and by doing so, it's going to take us to where and work out what it is we're meant to be receiving from that moment as well. But in terms for me, I think there was a moment that I had let's call it a wobble this morning even. And there was this moment of just like, oh my goodness, I'm having so much fun. This is great. But also I felt there was this conditioning voice coming in that was like, also I need to stay focused here. I need to maybe get the hustle back in a little bit more. And there's always those voices that are going to be there. They never disappear, no matter if you're making 10K months or 100K months, I'm telling you now. But we get better at recognizing them faster and then being like, okay, well, for me, I was in the bathroom doing my makeup this morning. I was like, okay, well, hang on a second. That is not a version of me that's actually aligned with who I am anymore. And in that moment, I was like, let's just release again the attachment of who I had been up until that point, even within the scarcity of that little moment, and just be remembering that each moment is a new moment to start again. Like we do actually have the power to decide, who do I want to be right now? Okay, I was being someone like a couple of seconds ago that was, dipping into the scarcity. She had a bit of a wobble. That's cool. She's human. This is where it was coming from. And ultimately, this is who I want to be and how I want to be living my life. So what I'm just going to do about it, I'm going to just feel into the excitement again of the life that I'm choosing to live day by day, the person that I'm choosing to become day by day. And again, sometimes it means going out and doing the fun thing and just forgetting about whatever it is you felt like you needed to be focusing on, or whatever it is, doing the total opposite, the brave thing of what you think that you should, quote unquote, should be doing. Because again, often the times when we're just realigning with what inspires us and living that life that feels good, then we're on top of the world. We're in that vibration without trying to be. And that's when things just unfold around us, because we're living in alignment. We're having a lot of fun. We're just putting ourselves in situations around people that we feel joyful around. And sometimes that is enough. I think sometimes we try too much when it comes to these manifesting things, or trying to be the person I want to be. And sometimes it's just as simple as deciding, this is who I am. This is how I want to feel, not putting any pressure around how that has to look like. And I think it's that releasing of the pressure that also just allows it to happen really fast as well, because there's no resistance to the truth. You are love, you are joy, we're all the things. So just lean back into it.
I actually did a podcast on this not long ago. It was called, Is It Possible to Be Rich and Happy? And it wasn't necessarily around making money, as that was a big part of it, but also just, releasing again the attachment to the outcome. A lot of people wanting to lose weight, wanting to manifest their partner, their dream job, etc., and realizing that want in the first place is actually your soul choosing the journey, not actually the end result and that thing that you get at the end. Because throughout the journey, that is where you grow, that is where you change your beliefs, that is where you elevate and you feel good and you have fun. Those small moments in between, that is why we choose the things we want, not necessarily because of the things we want, the end result, if that makes sense.
I love that. Absolutely. It's that whole cliche thing about it's the journey, not the destination. Like, as cliche as it is, that is so true. We live for the growth. Like, that's what is so exciting. Otherwise we get there. What happens when we get there? We dream a new dream, and then we go on the adventure of making that happen. And it is the journey. It's the adventure that we love. I'm totally with you there.
Yeah, it's like when you book a trip to New Zealand, for example, you know the end result is you're going to go back home. So if you were just manifesting the end result, then you skip the whole part of going snowboarding in New Zealand and all the fun in between. It's like there's no point. That's like one of my favorite analogy I like to use.
Absolutely.
As well as with the voice of fear that comes up of that old self and leaving that old version of you behind. I know that there will be a few people listening to this who are ready to let go of these old beliefs for themselves. However, maybe they're still living at home. Maybe they have a partner that's not really on the same page, or their family aren't, I guess, supportive in those new beliefs. Maybe they are really heavily invested into the media right now. I know before we jumped on this call, we were talking a lot about the scarcity mindset and fear of media with grocery recessions, all these things. So I guess what would be your advice for those who are ready to let go of these old beliefs? However, they may have people that they care about thinking and saying otherwise.
Great question. I think and no one's immune to that, by the way. I think everyone has the people around them that they care about that maybe they feel like they don't understand them, or they feel like they're not on the same page, or don't even support them, or are very against what they're doing. By the way, I don't think anyone's ever immune to that. I think people experience it in different degrees, but what has been really helpful from my experience is just remembering to have deep empathy for where everybody's at, but even a deeper empathy for knowing that wherever you choose to go and knowing what's right for you and following that path, honestly, it's the deepest empathy that you can have, because you know that once you get there and you quote unquote make it, or just the person that you become in the journey day by day, even you following that path is the most best, highest service that you could do for your family, for your loved ones, for the people who don't get you around you. And I think the more that we can focus on our truth and leaning into that, as opposed to allowing ourselves to be swayed by what's happening around us, even on a global level, the more that you're going to be staying in your personal power. And when you're there, you can absolutely shake up the world around you. I think a lot of people often, they lose sight of who they are and what they want and where they're going. And so it's so much easier to listen to other people around them, listen to the fear, listen to what's happening. You talked about how your friends lately, there's people around you talking about the grocery prices, literally haven't thought about that at all. That's just not the realm that I choose to play in. Yeah. So again, it's always just like a constant choice. I don't have that in my world. I don't have the fears around that, not because of whatever's in my bank account. It's because of, it's how I choose to move through life. It's how I choose to be. And of course I've had people, and I've had to let go of a lot of people in my life that don't really align with where I'm going. And of course there's a grieving process. Of course it's hard. I deeply empathize with the people that are going through that right now. But again, the greatest form of empathy that you can give yourself and others is you following in your truth more than anything else, knowing that, again, it's going to come back around full service. So when these people, and if you still want to be supportive of them and they still want them in your lives, maybe their family, whatever it is, you can be the person that changes the whole course to your family's history, because you decided to go against what they thought was right for you in the moment because you had a bigger vision. And sometimes it's just a matter of having the bigger vision for yourself, believing that wholeheartedly. knowing and trusting. And it comes down to the trust factor, trusting that that is meant for you. Again, otherwise you wouldn't have even had that thought to begin with. And there's going to be people that agree, disagree. You have to not give a fuck, basically, at the end of the day, because you are the most important thing. And whatever you choose to be and think is the right thing in the moment, of course, is going to have the right ripple effect on the right people, even when it feels like you don't even see that in the moment sometimes. And it hurts really deeply. That's the price we pay for following in alignment, with following in our truth sometimes, as opposed to staying in the discomfort and the pain of being someone that we're not. And of course, that might make everyone else around you happy, but does it really? Like, does it make you happy? And for how long? We've really got to weigh both of the options up here. And in my mind, there's no other greater love than being who you're meant to be and knowing that that's going to have ripple effects around you.
Wow. Yeah, 100%. I love that we are like speaking so much about trusting yourself. I literally just uploaded a podcast this week on how to trust yourself and how I learned to do this. So the synchronicities right now, I'm just loving this vibe. And the last kind of topic I really wanted to delve into was charging your worth. I know there would be a lot of coaches, PTs, nutritionists, a lot of past projections of myself as well that would be listening to this or getting into their own business and creating the life that they want for themselves, but also maybe struggling with, okay, well, what do I charge? Like, how much is too much, or what is enough? Like, how do I charge what I'm worth and also attracting dream clients? Like, I'm really curious what your answer would be for this.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I remember the days where I would be asking those questions as well. And there'd be such a big deal, and there'd be so much kind of like stress and anxiety around it all. And it's so funny because my answers usually to all of that is like, you got to be thinking bigger. Like, you got to like way bigger. we got to remember, like, when was the last time? And imagine, you know, if you're somebody who is really growth orientated and whatnot, listening to this, regardless of whether you're a coach or whatnot, but you have like a vision board, right? You've got dreams, you've got desires, you've got this life that you want to be living. Maybe you want to be traveling. Maybe you want to be paying off your mum's mortgage. Maybe you want to be sending your kids to great educations. Maybe you want to be taking your family on holidays. Maybe you want to be living in that dream house, the dream car. We need to get clear on what those things are. But when was the last time we actually added those things up? When was the last time we realized, okay, well, all of these things that I want is going to be X millions of dollars, right? I think a lot of people miss that step. And when you miss that step, well, here's what usually happens. They either miss that step and they kind of just live in this dream world of like, yes, wanting to make money and not really having a clear or specific path on what that even looks like, what they even want, because they haven't looked at, well, what is the cost of making those things happen? We do live in a money world. So we need to get on the energy and on the frequency of what that really is and get really specific and clear around that. But the other thing is, if we are clear on what that costs and we're like, oh goodness, it's going to cost like millions and millions for us to live this lifestyle. Often what people do here is they decide to shrink the dream, right? They're like, okay, well, that's not possible. That's unrealistic. How would I make millions and millions of dollars?
Oh,
don't we just have a bite with that word? Oh my goodness. Oh. It's so easy to minimize our dreams and our expressions and these desires as unrealistic. And therefore we're like, okay, well, what are we going to settle for? Right? We have this dream. If we could literally give ourselves the permission to have anything we want in our life, it would be X, Y, and Z. But then we're like, oh, okay, well, that's unrealistic. So let's just go with X, Y, and Z. That would still make me happy. That would be fine. Like, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be really, really happy with that. And like every time I speak to clients on application calls or even, just coaches, I ask them like, what do I really want to create? And they'll tell me, and it's total bullshit. I can feel the energy shift straight away when I'm like, okay, so now what do you actually really want? And if you could just wave the magic wand, who are you without the fear? If you could not fail, what do you want your life to look like in the next 6 months? That's when things click and they come alive, right? We need to follow what makes us feel alive. And often that's not necessarily in the same realm of what is realistic. And so often when we shrink our desires and we're like, okay, well, that's unrealistic. I just feel like that's such a disservice to our soul. Like, that's such a disservice to the fact that everything around us right now is a miracle. The fact that we're here talking, right now is a miracle. The fact that we've woken up today, a miracle. We're in this floating matter ball in space, the continuation of space and time itself. And you're saying that like your dreams are unrealistic, even though there's people out there, so many people out there that are living the life that you want and have proven that they can get it, and you think that it's unrealistic for you. Like, that's the shit that we need to look at first and foremost. Like, fuck like whatever you're thinking that you should charge, and if this is too much or whatever like that, like think bigger. Like, what do you actually want, and what are you prepared to own as your desires, and who do you want to be? We've got to start there. And then we have to get really real around, okay, well, if I want to make a lifestyle where I'm making, let's just say $10 million a year, because maybe that's what your vision board dream looks like when you actually just allow yourself to go there. You're like, okay, well, how can I make that happen? Instead of being like, well, that's unrealistic, let me shrink that. How can I make that happen? And if part of you thinks, okay, well, here's an opportunity to make this happen, I'm going to be able to help you to look at the coaching business and, you know, like investing into mentorship, for example. If you have fear that comes up with investing like 50K into yourself to allow yourself to get there sooner than later, and yet your dream is like 1 million, 10 million, whatever it is, you have to be honest with yourself and being like, okay, well, if I'm having scarcity and fear coming up with investing 50K into myself, 100K in myself, whatever the number is, we've got to get real around, okay, well, if we don't think we can come up with a way, or we can pay off, or we can make 50K, 100K, whatever it is happen to invest in our dream to make us more money, to allow us to be the person we want to be, well, then how serious are we with making the lifestyle that we really want? So we always have to come back to being real with our own money stories. And what are we actually prepared, like, how are we prepared to walk the walk within ourselves? A lot of the time, we get scared around, you know, what it is that we want to be charging, because it comes back down to like these universal fears of, will I be judged? Will people reject me? Will people think wrong of me? Will people think I'm like X, Y, and Z? And at the end of the day, we have to remember that we've got our own dreams that we need to live. And if we are charging less than who it is and what it is that we can actually offer in this life-changing transformation that we can give for people, often it's just a disservice. And some of my clients, my most recent client, she's like, yeah, I'm going to charge 5K for this. And then, she got no on her first sales call. So then she brought it back down to 2.5K. And she got some clients and it was great, but she realized the quality and the caliber of client coming in at 2.5K, there was not enough skin in the game for them to be really showing up, to be giving it their all, and for them to be really receiving the impact and the results that they were ready for. And so a lot of the time, she's jumped her prices back up to 10K now because she's realized the power of this. And I think often we underestimate people's ability and resourcefulness and potential to do really incredible things with their lives. And sometimes we need to have that skin in the game in order for it to be something of value to us, and in order for us to then to be stepping up in a way where we serve. Like, what is the 10K version of you? If you were to charge 10K for your services, and that might not seem like a lot of money to some listening, that might seem like a really like way out of, never would have thought they would do that. It's all relative, right? But if you were to charge 10K for your services, like, who would you be? Like, what kind of mentor would you be? How would you be showing up with the world? Like, how would you be moving? How would you be making decisions? That's a very different place, because it's not just about raising your prices, it's raising your standards. I think people forget that as well. They're like, well, how can I be most affordable? And again, instead of saying, how can I make the most impact? I'd rather charge 10K for my services or whatever it is, and know that I'm going to be, even on the first call, you're going to get your money's worth just from the conversation, the energy, and the moves that you make from that call, as opposed to charging less to try and, be nice. There's a lot of morality attached to money that just makes us play small, instead of realizing sometimes the best thing you can do out of love and service and empathy is charging more, because you know that person's going to meet the caliber, meet the energy, meet the intention that they need to, that they're going to meet their own edge in understanding who they need to be in order to make that a reality. It's such a big conversation. There's so much within here. I talk to my clients about this stuff all the time, because like I said, you can be making 10K months or 100K months. There's going to be fears and stuff that comes up around money, but we have to be really honest with what it is that we want. How can we find the most quickest, simplest way to get there? In my eyes, that's like high ticket coaching, and looking at how you can raise your standards and be the best version of yourself that you can be as a mentor, as a leader, as the most fullest expression of you as a brand, and bring that to the table, knowing that within you playing full out and fearless, you're going to make the best impact that you possibly can. And money will just come to you because you are this force to be reckoned with, because it's who you choose to be. That's how I love to help my clients. It's not a matter of let's just go and charge whatever you want. Well, it is charging whatever you want, because you've got a life that you want to live. You know that you want to work with a certain caliber of client. You want to be able to go on spontaneous trips away. Like, you are allowed to want these things. You are allowed to have big dreams. And there's going to be people out there that no matter what you charge are going to charge 10 times more than what you're doing, and doing so successfully. So there's always people that are going to be charging more than you. So why not you? Why not you be the best you can be today? And why not find the help and invest in the help that you need that's going to allow you to bring out that most fullest version of yourself? Because I trust when you do, of course, that's when you're going to have the most fun. Of course, it's when you're going to feel most aligned. Of course, it's when you're going to have everything flowing in around you, because you've decided to go all in energy. Yeah. It's such a big conversation here. I absolutely love this.
Oh, yes, I love that too. And I really resonate with the whole being nice thing, going back to the people pleasing. And I used to do that a lot, especially when COVID first started and I was still doing personal training face to face. I was charging people like $15 a week because I wanted to be nice, because I felt sorry for people losing their jobs. However, little did I know, people are spending less money because they're not going out all the time. So they were saving, and all of my clients started to rock up to my house in their Tesla and their Porsche. I'm like, oh, okay. I probably need to drop my price so low. So I guess my last question for you, Jasmin, today, as I want to be mindful of your time, what would be the biggest investment that you've ever made in yourself that really you found stretched you? And what has been the, I guess, results energetically, physically that have come from that in your life?
Yeah, good question. I think I most recently made an investment with my mentors that I've been working with for a couple of years now, $50K USD, which it was a huge stretch and a huge jump up from maybe the $20K AUD that I was paying before. But I remember, it's just speaking on my very, very first investment, which was, I think it was just the $25K. And this is all up front and full, by the way. Yeah. But my first $25K up front and full, that was really, I remember the first day when I heard that sort of being announced, and there's a huge part of me that was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. That's too much money. It just was cut off from it fully. And then on the second day of this, this intimate sort of business mentor retreat thing that we had going on, the second day I was kind of I went home that day even. I was like, you know what? Listen to me. Isn't that interesting that I'm not willing in that moment to invest $25K into myself, into my business? What is that really saying about me and my trust in myself? What is that really saying in who I believe that I am and where I see this going, where I see this mission going? What does that really say in terms of the amount of money that I'm going to make if I feel like $25K is a lot of money? Mm-hmm. I need to be feeling, $25K is 25 cents if I want to be making millions of dollars and helping my clients to do the same. Yeah. So it really, again, I was such a service to be asked to pay $25K at the time, because it really allowed me to shake up my world and how I saw myself and where I was going, my business and my ability to make an impact in everything. I'm so glad they didn't offer anything less, because maybe that wouldn't have been the stretch, and maybe I wouldn't have actually made the conscious choice to go ahead with it, because I wouldn't have had, this transformation that I was having in the moment. And so again, it's why I'm a huge believer in, paying up front and full as well. It's a stretch. I don't do payment plans, and I've never had anybody ask me for payment plans, because they get it. They're like, this is a stretch. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm going to find the money, make it happen. Usually it does within the first 24 hours, because when you want something bad enough, and it comes down to priorities too, when you want something bad enough, you will always find a way, whether it's the latest iPhone, whether it's the car, whether it's the paying rent even for the week, whatever it is. If you want something bad enough, if focus is there, you'll find a way. Exactly the same thing when it comes to investments as well. But I remember at the time when I first did that, my bank account went to zero for the first time ever. This was many, many years ago now. But at the time, I knew a lot of people around me were really like, oh, don't do that. That's unsafe. That's silly. You don't do that. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be unrealistic. And I remember doing it, and yet I felt so liberated. I was like, oh my goodness, my bank account's at zero. I've never experienced this before. This is like a new chapter. This is a fresh start for me. I can be whatever I want to be. And I need to decide who that is quick smart, because I need some money to be, paying groceries and stuff. But it was just so liberating. I can't express the feeling enough. And I'm not saying that everyone now needs to go and, empty all their bank account to zero, but again, it's about meeting your edge. It's about doing and exceeding what you feel is comfortable, because you're going to find out who you truly are in those moments, and you get to decide who you want to be in those moments. And I think that's a really valuable place to be. And since then, I made that back within the first week, because again, it was just unlocking the message, unlocking the real reason that I'm here. And it was the learning and the growth that I had within making my bank account go to zero as well. All these unexpected things that came up, because I decided to say yes and then figure out the how afterwards. We're so consumed with trying to play it safe that we don't realize when we're trying to play it safe, often we're not being free. We're not really allowing ourselves to go and explore and be our most fullest version of ourselves, because we're trying to do, again, what is right by everybody else, or what we think is right by an old version, but not who it is that we really want to be. So for me, it was the best decision that I ever made. And it continues to be the best decision, even when it feels like it's a huge stretch and it is really scary. But the person that I get to be and decide to be in that moment, I get to be really proud of that version of myself that said, you know what, I have all the reason not to go through with this. I have all the reason not to buy the apartment right on the beachfront, or whatever the decision is, not to come to New Zealand spontaneously just because I wanted to. I have all these decisions and I don't have to make them, or I have a lot of reasons not to. But if that's who I want to be and how I want to be living my life, and I get to be proud of that version of me, knowing that there's going to be bigger and better things to come from this, then why not? I know I'm going to be okay. And I think that's the beautiful thing when it comes back to that success piece as well.
Yeah.
When you can stand true in both options, where, okay, best case scenario, everything goes well. I make that money back in the first hour, and all of these, amazing things come from my life. Amazing. If you can be okay with that, but also on the other side, be okay with the worst case scenario. Maybe you lose your friends and nobody likes you, and, you don't have any money, reputation, whatever it is. Worst case scenario. If you can also look at that and you can say, you know what, even if I quote unquote fail, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to have the emotional resilience to deal with this. I'm going to have an epic story to tell. I'm going to be an even more courageous person. I'm going to learn so much more about myself, and I'm going to make it all back. And if you can look at both those sides and be like, you know what, I'm okay with whatever happens here. I think that's when you start living life in this way where you just know that you're unshakable, because whatever happens, you're going to be okay, because you got you. The universe has you. And again, that's when it comes to charging your prices and everything as well. You charge whatever you want, you raise the standards, you get the help in order to make the reality. You make sure you lead by example. I wouldn't go suggesting go charge 10K if you haven't invested 10K in yourself before, because you want to be in integrity. You want to know how that feels, because that is all part of the experience as well. There's so much I can say on this, but for me, it's always been the best options, and I will continue to do that forever, because every time there's so many unexpected, beautiful things that unfold. And again, the more I grow, the more that I have to give, the more my clients benefit from it as well.
Yeah. Wow. That is just a really cool story, definitely, but so inspiring. I'm just in awe of how you have come from where you've been and to where you are now. It is just so inspiring. And I'm sure everyone listening right now is just feeling yes, okay. I'm ready to take those moves and make the actions to get what I want, because it is such an amazing realization to have, knowing that you can either get caught up in what everyone else is doing and live that Groundhog Day and default life, or create your own experience and make the moves and choose for yourself. I think that's such a powerful place to live from. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Jasmin, how can my listeners gain access to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can find me on Instagram at I am Jasmin Moore, and that is IAMJASMIN, no E, MOORE. So I'm sure you'll probably have some notes and whatnot. They can find me there as well on the podcast. But feel free to follow me. I talk about the stuff quite a lot, as well as more of the specifics around the strategy and looking at the model and the marketing, the sales around actually growing your business and doing so in the most aligned way, in the most simplest way as well, with scaling with simplicity and not, like you said, being stuck in the groundhog of the grind and trading time for money. There's so many new shifting ways where we can be operating and living from. And when we know how to do that and build a brand, again, you can charge what you want. You can be making the money you want. You can be working with the clients that you really want. It all gets to be really fun and it gets to be really easy if you want it to be. So that's where you can find me. I have opportunities always really open for the right people that want to be working with me. A lot of what I do is a lot of like one-on-one mentoring. I'm definitely not for everyone though. I'm very selective with who I work with. I think for everyone, my time, my energy, my presence is sacred. My community is sacred, just like everybody else's. So I'm not really about getting somebody over the line to make a quick buck. I'm very happy not to give out an offer if I don't think it's the most aligned fit for us. But if you have listened to this and you think that there's some kind of soul connection here and you believe that I can help you and you think it'd be wise to have somebody who is walk the path in front of you, and you think that I'm going to be able to help expand your own reality as you do that as well, along with, of course, the strategies and things, do send me a message. Feel free to send me a DM and let me know what you've taken away from the podcast. Would love to hear that you've listened to this and been a part of the amazing energy that Elise and I have created today. And I've also would love to hear what you want to create in the next 6 months, because again, if you could not fail, the next 6 months of our lives, Elise, let alone everybody listening, could be the best yet if we decided that that is the intention that we're here to set. And I'd love to be able to help anybody listening to this that really resonates with this to create that, really looking at not just growing the business, but what life are we here to live on all levels. So if that's you, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to have a good conversation, see where that goes. And if it's meant to be, make an offer and get started with creating some just amazing magic in our own lives.
Yes. The next 6 months for us both, Jasmin, and everyone listening, are going to be the best yet. 1000%.
Absolutely. We get to choose. We get to make it.
Yes, exactly. So if we just choose right now that it's going to be, it will be.
It will be. And now we just get to go and again, grow into it, make the moves. Don't just sit back, but like get excited. Like this literally could be the best 6 months of your life. What are you going to do today? How are you going to use your time? What energy frequency are you going to be in? This is where the party is started, right here, right now. And we get to decide in this moment to make it be. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Oh, so good. And I have one final question for you, Jasmin. Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Okay. So if you were to channel or listen in to the first answer that your soul comes up with, what would be just one piece of advice or one thing that you know that the listeners need to hear right now?
The first thing that comes through for me is just to go have more fun, create a life where the sole focus is having more fun. Because like we said, when you're having fun and what's fun for you as well, when you're living that life, like I think we forget that happiness is such a key part of all of this, right? And it gets so easy to get caught up in all the things that we feel like we should do and should be. Let's just have fun. Go have fun today. I encourage you to literally, anybody who's listening to this, close the laptop, put down the pen and paper and to-do list and literally just go and do. If you ask yourself, like, what is it that I really want to do today? And whatever comes up, maybe it's something that's really outrageous. I encourage you to just go follow that. Just go do that and see what comes up for you, because I imagine you're going to get so much more out of that than you sitting grinding away at a laptop trying to, create the next email for your email sequence in your marketing. You're going to come up with something so much more, so much more powerful, so much more you, because you're literally living it. It comes back to just, again, how can I create the life that I'm proud of, that I'm in love with, that I'm having fun with every single day? So for me, go have fun, which is exactly what I'm going to go do after this. Not that this hasn't been fun. I've had an absolute ball. Thank you so much, Elise, for having me on the show. I've just had so much fun connecting with you and sharing this energy. And I'm really hoping that, the right people have gotten something out of this today as well. So I trust in that, trust in you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Honestly, I just have appreciated every single second of this. It's an honor to have you on. And definitely, if you're listening, go have some fun.
Thank you for being a part of the Generation Elevation community.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a 5-star rating, written review, share, and tag me on Instagram at elise.riley. Until next time, keep loving, keep learning, and keep rising.